Hello, and welcome to Little Decisions Podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Cooper. I have so much wonderfully kind content planned for you today. I can't wait to get started. Today's episode is called Hold On Loosely, and you better believe that's how I'm trying to live my life. By hold on loosely, I do mean that if you cling too tightly, you're going to lose control. Yes, this episode is named in honor of the 1981 classic by 38 Special with the same name. And why hold on loosely? Because I'm talking about all the ways in which kindness and control intersect, silly. But first, some light housekeeping. So that I can get a rhythm going and you can get some updates, I want to start first with housekeeping. I think I do more of this on the podcast than at home, but that's neither here nor there. Let's start with the blog. The new series, Simple Act of Kindness, premiered last week and already has its second article coming out this Friday. That's tomorrow. You also must read the blog post about the Pez fiasco. Only I could report a story that ridiculous. Take a look at all those over at littledecisionspodcast.com. The interview out this week, as in right now, is with market vendor and young entrepreneur Diejhon Yearby, aka Cozy of Cozy Bear Market Garden in Nicholson. We talk about superheroes, farm life, and podcasting at Pitter Park. I also have Kevin from Kevin's Monster Shack on deck as I begin interviewing the Marigold Market vendors in earnest. Then over on our YouTube channel, War Room Diaries number 13 is out. It came out after Friday the 13th because I'm still learning how to properly plan social media content. Feel free to send help. Speaking of social media, I have a new way of interacting with everyone on all platforms, especially TikTok. That's right. Through the generosity of some dear friends and family, I now have a red manual typewriter. This is both for social media content creation and for writing purposes. You see, when using an actual manual typewriter, one can only type so fast, and there is no real delete key, so every stroke needs to be purposeful and precise. I hope you feel clean, because that's housekeeping. This is metaphorically. While we may not have control over another person, we have control over ourselves. What does it really mean to be our best selves? Isn't being kind always a choice we have, each and every day? We can't make anyone else be kind, but that doesn't mean we can't be kind, no matter what. When we try to control, we lose all perspective and gain only tunnel vision in return. At least I know I do. And if I'm being honest, whenever I am stressed, I have this huge urge to control, to influence unduly. Control is defined as the power to influence or direct people's behaviors or the course of events. When it comes to control and kindness, I need to give, not to receive. The purest forms of kindness may have no audience and offer no credit. Kindness to accumulate thanks is self-serving at best. Some may even say it's an effort to control. But when we are kind, even if, maybe especially if, there's no such payback, the rewards may be even sweeter. Kindness and control also intersect when it comes to leadership. Leading with kindness is control for the sake of structure and not manipulation. Ideally. This is a different form of control, and I believe a kindness in its own right. Jurisdiction, sway, power, authority, command, dominance, government, mastery, leadership, rule, reign, sovereignty, supremacy. These are all synonyms for control, and yet none sound very kind, do they? No, those words sound like content, happy, grateful, positive, constructive, selfless, respectful. So, we must think of these words in conjunction, like positive leadership, constructive rule, or selfless sovereignty, for nothing is only one thing. Everything is made up of complex contradictions, and our brain doesn't like that very much, so it ignores the ones that don't fit our perspective of the world. Kindness is in your control. Most of us have it in us to be kind, but sometimes we choose not to be, especially when we believe our sense of control is being threatened. We control how we respond to people and events. Realizing what is in our control is imperative to self-care and to being kind. When people are suffering and feel like things are totally out of control, it becomes important to take care of yourself. Focus on what you can control. When you feel good, you are more likely to do good, like be kind. When you are kind, you are likely to gain more control, or at least have a better sense of it. Up next, question of the week. For this week's question of the week, I really got people thinking. Since I want you at home to play along, I'm going to first read each of the questions and answer options. There are only 3, so no need to get paper to write down any of the answers. Remember, answer honestly. Question 1. I try to control things in my life. True, false, it's 50-50, or other. I try to control things in my life. True, false, it's 50-50, or other. I like to feel in control. True, false, no answer, or other. I like to feel in control. True, false, no answer, or other. Trying to control life is a form of kindness. True, false, or other. Trying to control life is a form of kindness. True, false, or other. What do you think I mean by these questions? Well, let's listen as I talk with Max and his wife Laura about these very questions.
Well, and this week's question of the week is about control, so it's a little...
See, I would say that I may be 50-50, but he would probably say that I flat out try and control everything. Right?
I mean, it's you answering the questions.
Yeah, but it makes it interesting, though.
Yeah, well, it's...
I mean, I can answer these questions. It's mostly just circling yes or no.
It is.
I don't have to fill in the other.
No, I have changed the question of the week to be easier because I want people to kind of still think about it, but not. I made it too hard.
Not get lost in existential crises.
No.
Yes, exactly.
No matter what, it's a crisis.
Yeah, that's true. Yay! I've been asking names now, so I don't have to refer to people as Jane Doe and John Doe.
Some rando in Winterville?
Yeah, some rando in Winterville is really angry. No one's been angry. Yay, thank you. Yay.
It's funny the things that you think about when answering certain questions like this. So, have you ever played like the modified version of Uno, where like you put down a 2 and everybody has to pass their hand to the right, or you put down a 7 and everybody has to like slap the deck kind of stuff? There's a billion rules that go with like this type of like crazy Uno. And I remember specifically trying to play with one person who didn't want to follow like our house rules. He was like, well, this isn't how we play it this way. And I was like, okay, no.
Okay.
I was like, this is madness. There are rules for a reason. We follow the rules because that's what makes it fun. So that's what makes me like in control. I'm like, no, you have to follow the rules because that's how you make it fun and how it's like, right. So I'm like, it's very rude of you to not be following these rules because it's like, I don't know.
I feel like if everybody understands that there's rules, and almost everyone is in agreement that there's rules, then it is a kindness to follow the rules.
To have structure.
Because you need that.
It's the basis of society.
Yes, exactly. So I think it is a kindness. I think it depends on how you control. When you try to control people, that is not kind.
Yeah.
And that is manipulation. And like for me, that's something I struggle with. And I don't mean to be manipulative. Yes. I'm just sadly naturally good at it.
But I think when I see the word control, my brain flips it to I just lost the word. Like foundation. Like if you don't have control of
if you don't have
expectations,
structure.
Yes, structure, that's the word. Yes, control equals structure, and without structure, everything falls apart.
I like that outlook on it.
Well, that's kind of the difference, like the connotation with the word control, because it could also mean dominance.
Right.
And that has a negative context.
Right.
So depending on if you approach it as structure versus dominance, it's kind of
I think,
So it's interesting to me that you chose the word control.
Yeah.
And just the different ways that word can be interpreted as a positive thing or a negative.
Well, that's why I didn't name the episode of Control. It's called Hold On Loosely, both because I wanted to refer to the song, and because when I think of control, I have to remember that that's how I'm supposed to, like, in my life, I have to hold on loosely. So I have to hang on enough, I have to have enough structure, I have to have enough organization, but I cannot be manipulative, I cannot be dominating or,
Yeah, and I'm sure you come across that a lot with, like, raising your kids. You're
Yes.
like, okay, I can give them, like, set them on the right path, but if they deviate, I can't always steer them back. Like, I have to let them fall off the cliff a second and wait for them to come back.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and luckily
totally.
the cliffs are usually really small cliffs.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
and that's why with my kids, I'm like, I would rather have you learn this lesson when it hurts a lot less than when it hurts more, and I can't control the hurt.
Yeah,
Right.
Or I don't know how much hurt there's going to be. Like, I know this is going to hurt, but it's going to hurt a lot less than, like, if someone does it to you.
So one of my like previous life jobs was working for the Boy Scouts and like a fundraiser coordinator, all that stuff. But one of the things that like really drew me to it was one of the leaders said, the whole point of the Scouts is to give these kids a place where they can fail safely, so they can learn how to manage it, understand it, deal with it, and overcome it.
I think my 3 goals in asking the questions were, number 1, honesty. Question 2, I like to feel in control. Most people, if being honest, would answer true, right? We like feeling like we are the master instead of the puppet, the pilot instead of the passenger. My second goal was to see if people really do try to control things as much as I do. I've been genuinely trying to work on this character defect for months now, and yet I still do it all the time. Try to control, feel the urge to manipulate in my favor. And my third goal is the one that's always there, and that's to get people talking. So what were the results? Well, this week was a true mixed bag. Question 1, I try to control things in my life. Answers were either true or it's 50-50. For question 2, I like to feel in control. These answers were reported as mostly true. Sherry mentions in her response, quote, I like to feel in control of what I can control, myself, end quote. As for question 3, trying to control life is a form of kindness. Well, more participants answered other than ever before. Alita says to question 3, quote, trying to control life is a form of kindness, sometimes, definitely, not always, end quote. Thank you to everyone that participated in answering the question of the week. Up next, a special report concerning the Firefly Trail. For this special report, I want to talk about the real story behind the name of the Firefly Trail. You may think because there is a lightning bug on its logo, the Firefly Trail is named after the famous southern insect, endearingly termed in the South as a firefly. But this would only be part of the story. For the rest, I need to read to you from traillink.com from the Firefly Trail description. Quote, in the late 1800s, when the Georgia Railroad trains rumbled through the rural darkness between Athens and Union Point, embers would flicker in the night sky from the wood-burning engines. Farmers began calling the line Firefly. Today, locals are working to convert that old rail bed into a 39-mile multi-use trail. End quote. This surprising fact is just one of many things I've learned from my conversations at the Marigold Market. Let's see what else has been happening there with Market Conversations up next.
Hey, how are you? Good, how are you? Good. I have a podcast about kindness.
Well, that's a good podcast.
It is. Would you be interested in doing a 3-question survey for me?
Sure.
Okay. It's just about control. So, you know what? I can hold the flowers for you if you want.
My husband would answer differently for me than
I bet he would. Yeah. Oh, these are so beautiful.
I love podcasts. That's what I do everything too.
I get to talk kindness, nostalgia, and almost anything in between while working any given market Saturday.
Well, I was 6. That was a year ago.
That was a year ago? You're 7 now? Wow.
And we are, I think we live in a different county, but we're going to a different county school. But it's the weekend, so we're not going.
Yeah, thank goodness.
You want to walk with me, or you sing and chat?
We're going to stay. You can go.
I have a podcast about kindness in Athens and Winterville, and it has a retro theme to it, so I sell retro themed stuff.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
And while I always enjoy making new friends, returning ones are even better. Becky's back.
Hello!
I couldn't find you down there.
I moved! How are you?
Where's the
Oh, she's over here. She just got here too. You know, she gets here. She gets here almost every time, right before you get here, or right after you get here.
She knows I'm coming.
She does.
These conversations are where I make connections and build that sense of community, all based on kindness. These are the pillars of this podcast: kindness, connection, and community. And that's Market Conversations. For this week's Kindness in Practice, I interviewed incoming community forester Lee Clark of Winterville. I met Lee at the Marigold Market one recent Saturday and was so excited to sit down and talk trees with her. As of September 1st, Lee will be full-time at the Georgia Forestry Commission as the community forester for Northeast Georgia. According to the Georgia Forestry Commission website, quote, community foresters provide technical assistance to cities, counties, elementary schools, college campuses, homeowners, and nonprofit organizations through the Sustainable Community Forestry Program, end quote. This is the culmination of years of hard work on Lee's part. She has been working on the county's tree inventory since February 2020, and last year for the Georgia Forestry Commission, she performed regional level approvals for the Tree City USA and Tree Campus USA programs. Lee also chairs the Winterville Tree Commission, is on the Athens Tree Council, the Board of Directors for the Georgia Tree Council, and for the Linden House Arts Foundation, all voluntary positions. Lee's enthusiasm for trees and life is at the forefront of everything she does. I hope you enjoy listening to my interview with Lee Clark of Winterville.
It's actually perfect weather, honestly.
It's a good day to be a tree.
It is. So what got you interested in the work that you do?
Well, I was a lawyer in Florida for 20-something years and decided just really hated that. And my marriage was breaking up, my mother died, everything collapsed around me, and I put the question out to the universe, where's my solace? Where can I get some comfort?
Yeah.
And the answer was trees. And so I started exploring that a little more deeply and thinking about it and how can I do this and tree what? And the answer just came back to become an arborist and teach others about trees. And so I sold my house in Florida, I moved up here and went to school and I just graduated, and so now I'm going to be the community forester.
That's awesome. That's so, I love when stories work out like that.
It is, I know, it really is.
Yeah.
Better late than never. September 1st, I'm going to start with Georgia Forestry Commission as the community forester, but I'm also the chair of the Winterville Tree.
And how long have you lived in Winterville?
Let's see. I bought a house in May of 2018.
Yeah.
The day before the Marigold Festival.
Oh, I love that. I love that you remember that too.
I do, because the next day I made sure to walk down here.
Yeah.
It's like, I really need to be unpacking, but I really want to go to this.
Yeah. Now, was it lovely? Because I haven't been yet to the Marigold Festival.
It was. It was a normal one. And there were vendors spread out all over and booths, and it was like a really big Marigold Market.
What exactly is the Winterville Tree Commission?
In 2017, Winterville passed a tree ordinance, a tree canopy protection law.
Okay.
And in that law, it set up the Winterville Tree Commission. And what we do is, we have a lot of tasks that are assigned to us. What we, in practical terms, do is we make recommendations on the management of trees. We're involved with the commemorative tree plantings that are going on. We review and revise the tree ordinance when it's needed. We provide tree care education to the public. That's probably our most visible, forward-facing task that we do. And we try to do that several times a year, although pandemic made it harder. But we are having an event next month.
Oh, great.
And we write up an annual report that gets presented to the city council every year, just about what we've done and what we plan to do.
Yeah.
And then we keep up the Tree City USA and Tree City of the World certifications.
Now, are we still one of only 3 cities in the U.S.? 4. There's 4.
In Georgia.
In Georgia.
Arbor Day Foundation runs both programs, and it is really just to encourage communities to get a tree board, get a tree ordinance, do maybe a tree care management plan. It gets people at the ground level more involved in trees and tree care, and then that spreads.
Yeah.
And the requirements were pretty much the same. The Tree City of the World had one additional requirement, but I was able to take care of that. So we got it.
Yeah. I love that your earrings are trees, by the way.
The tree of life.
I realized that. I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. What other work besides the tree commission do you do for Winterville?
Well, I'm on the Athens Tree Council, and so that includes Winterville too as part of the county, but nothing else in Winterville specifically. The Tree Commission is taking on more of the commemorative trees because we don't have a city arborist right now in Winterville, so it's got to fall to somebody. So Tom does the landscape management here, but he's got a full plate, so we're talking kind of through email right now among the commission about taking on more responsibility for the commemorative trees.
Okay. And what are those?
All the trees with plaques that are
Yes.
up and down.
Yes,
Yeah.
the ones in here?
And we've got some kind of over in there. People or groups will buy a tree for $100. It's just a donation, and then we get the tree from a tree nursery, and we plant it, and we aftercare, provide water, and watch for bugs. We've had a lot of caterpillars this year, and June bugs last year, and then we install a plaque that says who donated the tree and who it's in memory or in honor of, and what the species is, and the year that it was installed.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, it's educational as well as memorial.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, because I had seen one or two and was like, oh, what is this about? What do you enjoy most about the work you do?
Oh, I love educating people about trees. I love trees so much, and I want to care for them, and I want to teach others how to do that too. It's so nice when I drive past a yard and I see just a happy, healthy tree, and I want to spread that. And trees are wonderful things. They give us oxygen, and they sequester carbon, and they prevent erosion, and they mitigate stormwater runoff, and they save us money, and they give us air to breathe. And they're great places to create memories, and they're beautiful, and they increase property values, and they do so many wonderful things for us. And I want to spread that message, and I want the trees that we have to be well cared for, and I want people to see them and appreciate them.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and that's what's so interesting is I had never met an arborist before, or not.
I'm not an arborist yet. I will be soon, but not yet.
Well, I haven't even met a potential arborist. Well, I'm sure I have, but didn't know. So, I mean, this is fascinating to me. I could talk all day about this.
Each tree is an individual. Even though they're all connected underground and helping each other, each tree is still an individual, and it has different, kind of, not a personality, I don't want to humanize it, but they're all unique. They do different things, and they need different things, and they're all beautiful in their own way, and they're also different.
Do you have a favorite tree?
Redwoods.
Redwoods. I love the. Oh, I saw the redwoods in California.
Yeah.
One of the oldest trees there,
Yes.
and it is moving. Like I think it's called the Kernel. I'll have to look it up. But it is so big, and we took our girls there, and I loved it.
I do too. Whenever I have a vacation, I go there.
Yeah, it's gorgeous out there.
It pulls me. I am pulled out there. And the last time I went out there, I was in the airport flying out to come back here, and I had to go have a moment with myself about am I really going to get on this plane and go home?
Yeah.
Because I really need to stay here. I really feel the pull to stay here.
Yeah. I have that same feeling, that pull or that call to do things. And I've just recently, when I quit my job, that's when I first started really listening to that voice inside, that intuition. And so I'd love to meet someone who also does that too, who's just like, am I really, why am I feeling this? Because some people will just ignore those things. And I'm like, that's where our story is. It lives in those moments where, do I stay or do I go? What is most important to me?
Yeah. It was a moment. I was with Eric, and I had to just go, I need to go be by myself for 5 minutes. Just let me go. I need to go have a conversation with myself. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm getting on this plane.
Yeah.
I did.
What would you say is the most challenging aspect of your work?
Well, I haven't started the community forester job yet. Right now I'm doing the tree inventory for the county. Well, the weather right now is really challenging.
Yeah.
It's been a long, hot, humid summer.
Very.
But we did a project this summer that is hopefully going to really informative as to what our tree canopy is, what the composition of it is, where we can do better, what some of the maintenance issues are. It's going to give a picture overall of the state of our tree canopy throughout the entire county. We did, I think, 258 random plots. That were each 1/10 of an acre, and we did them on all kinds of different land. We did stop right before it got to be 100 degrees. We stopped that week.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's not really... I don't know with the community forester. I don't know yet because I haven't started that yet.
Yeah. Are you excited to start that?
I am.
Yeah. Every time you talk about it, you brighten up.
Yeah.
Like it's really neat to see.
I feel like it is the culmination of 5 years of this is the direction I'm going to put my life in.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm here. I did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that. What could someone listening who wants to help, like maybe just do something to help you with your work? What's something like any person could do to help trees, really?
Get involved with the tree commission wherever you live. Winterville, we always need people. Athens right now is actively recruiting 2 people because I had to roll off and become ex officio. Once I take this job, I can't be a voting member anymore. So that creates a need for 2 people. So serve on a tree commission. Go to the events that they have, like the Arbor Day events where we plant trees, and you'll meet people, you'll learn about trees and tree care. Usually we have trees to give away with a little pamphlet of how to properly plant them.
Yeah.
We've got an educational event next month at the depot here with 2 speakers. One is just recent Winterville arborist, Mateo Fennell, and he's going to talk about our borer sculpture, where he is growing sycamore trees into the shape of furniture.
That's awesome.
Like growing a chair, and then when it is done, you cut the chair and you've got the chair. And also, we've got Susan Russell, who is the city arborist in Jefferson, and she's going to talk about their tree sale program, where they have increased Jefferson's tree canopy greatly by this they're not making a profit on it, they're just doing this to get trees out, where they sell trees at cost, and people get whatever they pay for the trees, they get that back as a credit on their utility bill throughout the year. So it's no cost to anybody.
Oh, wow.
And it's increasing the tree canopy, and it's a wonderfully successful program. So she's going to come in and talk about that. So if you want to help trees or get involved with it, just go to the educational events. There's webinars all the time. The webpage for the Tree Commission on the Winterville site has a lot of links that you can go to webinars we've done in the past or just other educational information.
Yeah, it seemed very helpful.
Good.
Yeah, when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this is a nice website. And then I got distracted with that Labyrinth thing, but we'll get to that. What do you know about the Labyrinth proposal for Pittard Park? Because I know you mentioned that.
Yes. Well, Winterville gets a bucket of T-SPLOST funds, and so we put in a request to the county. The county gets the T-SPLOST money from the money that comes in, and so we get a chunk of that as Winterville. And then Winterville gets to decide what projects to do with that money. So one of the proposals, it's just a proposal at this point, it hasn't been voted on by anybody, is to create a labyrinth over there.
Oh, okay.
Kind of in the wildlife-y area.
Okay, yeah, and more the natural part, like past the playground? Okay.
Yeah, past, kind of, where it gets low and wet over there?
Yeah.
We're talking about, like, putting in, kind of using the labyrinth to deal with the wetness and putting some fill grade in there and raising it up a little bit so that it doesn't get so bogged down and wet, and using that as a way to mitigate just the mud that is usually down there. It would be 1.5 mile walkway path if you walk the whole thing, and so it'd be good exercise. It'd be 4 feet wide, I think 4 inches of fill gravel, and the proposal was for a size gravel that won't catch stroller wheels.
Oh, good. That's genius. Yeah.
Hopefully. And we're trying to figure out maintenance on it now. We don't know. It's hard to anticipate the maintenance needs of something that we haven't built yet.
Yeah.
But we don't know if like a weed eater or relying on volunteers, or we just don't know yet. We're still hashing all that out.
Yeah.
So right now it's just a proposal.
What is one way your work directly impacts the people of Winterville?
Well, the commemorative trees, that's going to beautify Winterville. We're going to have a great canopy in a few years. And then just caring for all the trees that we have now. Hopefully the education programs that we do as a tree commission get some information to people that they want or that they can use. I hope that.
Yeah. I mean, I've already learned a bunch of stuff. I mean, the fact that trees help property value, I didn't even know that.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good apps you can use to identify trees.
Oh good, okay, yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, because I mean that's exciting. Well, and especially when you said that each one needs different things. I mean that makes it's just like other plants. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm only recently. My husband loves plants and gardening, and I would call him an amateur gardener. And so I'm just now kind of like through him getting into some of this stuff, just because I finally have time to think about it. I feel like, and I'm sure you can attest to this when you were an attorney, I worked so much, I just never paid attention to anything. And now it's like one day I woke up and was like, what's all this stuff around me? Like, how have I been missing out? So now anytime I meet someone that knows things I don't know, I'm like, let's interview and let's talk and I can learn new things. And as soon as like I met you, I was like, oh yeah, she's very kind. I have to talk to her. So you were very gracious too when I came up and said your whole name and was like, hello, we're friends now. So, and you were very gracious. I appreciate that. How do you think little decisions can make a big difference?
I think that it kind of relates back to my view of what karma is. That I don't think karma is as black and white as do something, get something. I think it is more the attitude and the perspective that you bring to things. So if you do little kind things and you approach things with that perspective that you're just going to be kind wherever you can, you're going to do what you can to help wherever you can, then I think that you start to see that in others. And it's not, like you hear the popular definition of karma is, what you send out, you get back. I think it's more of a perspective of, I think it's always there. It's a matter of whether you see it or not. So when you do little things and you make these little decisions based on kindness, or from a, when you do things from a loving perspective or giving or a kind perspective, then you see that in other people. When you're motivated by that, you start to believe other people are motivated by that.
Yeah.
So when the normal course of life happens, I think you're more attuned and you pay more attention to the good things that come back.
Yeah.
And you notice them and you attribute them to the same motivation that you have.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. Well, and that's true. I have noticed, because I think that was why I wanted to do this project, because I got so tired of the negativity and there's all those things out there. And I get that everything has to have a place. And you can't have, one without the other. You can't have light without dark, and I get that. But I was so tired of just the negativity and the isolation from the pandemic, and I was like, you know what we need more of? Kindness. And that's just like, I've just been chasing that rabbit ever since. So I love that. What does kindness mean to you?
Well, there's the dictionary definition of generosity and caring and friendliness, but I think it goes more than that. For a long time, I believed that when we're really in need, an angel will show up.
Yeah.
And that we can also be angels for other people when they need something. And it's actually usually just a stranger that appears out of nowhere right when you need something. So I think kindness is being who or what someone needs right in that moment.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I've never heard it put quite that way, but I would agree with that. Yeah, it's what someone needs right in that moment. Yeah, because I think for me, we don't spend enough time with other people giving them what they need, or paying enough attention to do that. And I'm not talking about like in a selfless way. I'm just talking about like in an engaging way. That's why I love working the market. I love talking to people, obviously. But I mean, I love that engagement with people, and I've missed that so much. And I think it's a kindness that other people do for me, because I need that interaction. So I get energy from it. So how do you think we can make social media kinder?
That would be the $1 million question, wouldn't it?
It would.
I don't use social media because it is so negative and it is so dark and I just don't. I avoid all that. My resistance to it is that people seem to act very badly on it because they can be anonymous and they wouldn't necessarily say those things or do those things in person in real life. So if there were some way to hold them accountable, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
But if there was some way to hold them accountable and to just come together and say, don't be like that. Just however we would act if someone did that in person, like you're being a bully, just call them out.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know the answer to it.
Well, and it's a tough question. That's why I asked it. And I ask it too from different people just because it's something I struggle with. Like I'm trying to make, because I use social media a lot. I think for my generation, I'm the last generation that had a analog childhood and a digital adulthood. So, I learned how to type on a typewriter, but I also then learned on a computer, and all those things.
Do you remember old phones?
Yes, I do.
That plugged into the wall and you had to carry them around.
And it had the super long curly cord.
Yes.
And you would sit there playing with it while you're talking to somebody. I actually, in my room, had one of those clear phones. You remember those where you could see all the insides?
Yeah.
I love that thing. And I talk for hours with people.
Yes.
But I mean, yeah, it's interesting because I think on social media, like that's what I like about it, is I like being able to share those stories. I like being able to communicate with people that I haven't seen in years, that I won't otherwise see. But I hate that negativity of it. Like I've been resisting in particular TikTok because it seems very negative to me, and it's just all videos anyway, and it's not my thing. But for the podcast, I have to learn new things, and so I'm trying it, and it's so funny because the first day I got on there, I had just a random negative comment from someone, and I wanted to immediately sign off and get off and all that stuff, and I was like, you know what? No, you're not going to ruin my day. And so I just responded. I was like, well, this is a podcast about kindness, so thank you. And I just left it at that, because I was like, you're not going to ruin my day, and it was just some random person, just saying nonsense anyway. But it's the thing. I mean, I like your idea of holding people accountable. I'm going to think on that.
How do you do that, though?
I don't know.
I mean, that's why they're acting badly, is because they can be anonymous.
Yeah.
They're hiding behind this persona, and they're just acting really awful.
Yeah. I know. I think it's almost like the idea of, I think of it like the idea of the carrot and stick. So like with vaccinations, right now we're still in the carrot, which is, hey, everybody get vaccinated, come on. And we're about to transition over, I feel like, to the stick, which is, okay, you can't do these things because you're not vaccinated. We tried it the nice way, and you didn't do it. So I think it's that same type of deal, is figuring out a way, because I think there has to be a way, but I'll have to think on it more.
Yeah.
But I really, with social media, especially because, like, my children are growing up with it. They're 6 and 9. And my little one got so excited when I was like, hey, guess what? Mommy just got on TikTok. And she goes, oh, I love TikTok. She's 6. Yeah. And I was like, how are you watching it? YouTube. Found out it's on YouTube.
Oh.
Which is, I mean, we've got it protected to where she can only watch certain things. So I'm not worried about what she's watching per se. But I'm just like, she's 6. She should know what TikTok is.
Yeah.
She should know, what the outside is like more.
Yeah.
So I figure if it's going to be around for them, I'm trying to make it kinder.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that question comes from. Good. Yeah. One more question. Is there a random act of kindness that was either done for you or you've witnessed that you'll never forget?
I thought about that. There's so many. So I wanted just to share with you the most recent one. I was driving home from work within the last month or two, and I got a flat tire. So I pulled over inside the road, and I've got AAA. But I always have tire issues. It's just something about me, and I don't know. There's some weird symbolism to that. I don't know. My tires always leak. Yeah. My whole life. So I carry an air pump with me in my trunk that you can plug into a cigarette lighter. So I got it all set up, and I put it on, and I'm pumping it up, and I get back in the car, and I'm waiting for it, and then I'm realizing this thing is not filling with air. It's got this huge rip in it, so it's not going to fill.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in my car, and I'm doing what I have to get through to AAA, and there's a lot of punching buttons, so it looks like I'm just sitting in my car texting. And this woman, this stranger that I do not know, just pulls up, and she's like, I can change your tire. Okay. Sure, but I've got AAA coming. She goes, yeah, I can do it in 5 seconds. Okay. So she just whipped it out and got this done, jacked it up, doop-de-doop, dut-de-dup, on your way. And it's like, I'll probably never see her again. Yeah. I know what her car looks like, but I was just so stunned. I didn't even ask her name. I was just stunned, and I couldn't even speak.
That's so kind.
I know, just completely an angel just dropped out of the sky.
Yeah. You're right. A stranger came by when you needed them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know what a car looks like. I know what the stickers on the back of her car look like. So if I ever see that car again, I will know, and I will flag her down, and I will thank her properly. But I was just too dumbfounded at the time to say much, other than I can't believe you just did that.
As I end the episode today, I want to start by extending a special thank you to those who have given me feedback about the episode so far. I can't express enough what this means to me. These episodes are for you. These are yours as much as mine. If you've been listening and have some feedback, please feel free to reach out on any social media platform or email me directly at littledecisionspodcast@gmail.com. That's little, DECISIONS, podcast@gmail.com. I'm planning to mail anyone that provides constructive feedback some stickers as a thank you. Also, while recording this episode, I found out that I hit a new milestone, 150 downloads. That's huge for me. Thank you for listening. As always, I hope you found some kindness and some hope here today, and maybe learned how to let go a little more. I know I did. Hold on loosely, and as always, pineapple with care.